Hey Akshay, how are you?
Yeah, sure. Good. And you?
Good, good, good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, Akshay, why don't you go ahead and tell me about yourself in a couple of minutes,
Okay.
and then we will go through your questions. Okay?
Okay, sir. So I'm a final
And
year BSMS student at
uh,
ISL Pal. ISL stands for Indian Institute of Science Education and Research. I'm major in physics, and so currently I'm working on black hole thermodynamics. It's theoretical physics, and I want to pursue a PhD in this field only.
okay. And is when are you graduating?
In May 2020.
May 2020. Okay.
In this May, yes.
And have you given your GRE and TOEFL yet or no?
I have given TOEFL. GRE I couldn't give. TOEFL in TOEFL I had 98 out of 120, and I'm thinking of giving GRE sooner.
Soon, okay. So Akshay, you know that if you are applying for a PhD program, you are late for August 2020, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know. Actually, earlier I was planning to apply at European institutes only. So I applied there. I got few rejections, so that's why I'm now thinking of applying at USA as well.
No, no. For that you have to give GRE also, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why,
Okay.
like maybe next term.
Okay. So do you know what are your plans for next 1 year?
Yes, sir. If I don't I'm still applying at European institutes. If I don't get a PhD there, then I'm thinking of doing some project here at ISA
Okay.
for 1 year. Then I'll maybe publish a paper if possible, and then next year I will again apply
Okay, got
at
it.
USNU.
So let me go through your questions. So one thing I saw in your
Yes.
question, you said you don't know why you are not getting why
That's
you.
the earlier mail, sir. I sent questions again.
Yeah, yeah. So one of your question is that your interest in theoretical physics, especially in quantum field theory, but you have faced rejection from universities in India as
Yes.
well outside. So where you applied in India?
In India, I applied at ISET Pune, and outside I applied at
So
several
you
institutes at France.
so you gave your gate or something.
NET, sir, actually, it's NET here,
So
National Eligibility
okay.
Test.
So do you know why you didn't get admission in India? What was the reason? Was your
Yeah,
score?
maybe like I was applying through different channel. It's called Inspired Fellowship.
Uh-huh.
So they usually have less chances because for that institute has to pay by themselves to me. But if I'm qualified through NET, then government will pay me like that. So maybe that's why.
Okay. But right now you are mainly interested in applying abroad. Is that
Yes, sir, yes, yes, that's true.
okay? Call me Amit. Okay. Don't call me sir.
Okay.
Uh, okay. So a couple of things. I'm gonna go through your questions very quickly. So
Yes, yes.
you said one of your question which is very striking is you said is changing the topic of interest will be a good thing. So whenever you are doing PhD, your idea was that I want to do a PhD in the area what my interest is.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm not sure
Yes.
what you're talking about here. That I want to change my topic. See, one thing anybody has to understand that don't get desperate of for doing a PhD. PhD is supposed to be that you're gonna enjoy. It doesn't
Okay.
work the other way. It's not a job. It's something you would like to do. It's a thing that you're gonna enjoy, so that you can continue in that field and you will contribute in that field.
Okay.
Okay, it's supposed to be like that.
Okay.
I don't know why you say that I will change my topic. So it shows me some sort of a desperation. But what will end happening even if you, let's say, if you change your topic and if you didn't like it, then it will be more horrible.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my advice to you is stick to what you want to do. That is
Okay.
number one.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Yes.
you're gonna figure it out. Okay, considering my score, considering my current status, where are the places of which are the good places that I want to do PhD and all sort of thing. But your interest has to be first. You can't change your interest. You can't say tomorrow, oh, I'm gonna do PhD in biology. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You
Yes.
can't do that, or so I think you can change little bit. Like for example, I'm not a theoretical physicist, but what I'm saying is you can change your field little bit, but it's not like you suddenly from theoretical physics you're gonna start doing some classical physics or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not sure
Yes.
you can do. I mean, you can do that, but if it not in of your interest, then it will be a very not a good thing for you. Okay, how important is to have a research paper is difficult to have one in theoretical physics. Again, I'm trained as an engineer, right? So I will tell you based on what my experience has been. I think
Okay.
if you get a good GRE score, excellent GRE score, I think your chances of you getting an admission would be very high. I
Okay.
see. I can tell you my story when I was graduating from I graduated from India. It was 2003, and I think I applied to a couple of not Europe but UK,
Okay. Okay.
right? And also I applied to US at that time for my PhD, for my master's and PhD program. My experience was that I got some admission at some universities in UK, but they were not paying. They were not paying for my scholarship,
Okay.
which has no meaning because I'm not gonna pay from my pocket, right? I didn't have that much money. But US is relatively much easier. So I don't know why what was your idea behind that I want to apply to Europe but not to US? I don't understand.
There were reasons.
Yeah, yeah, there
There
could
were
be. But what I'm saying is, if there are some personal reasons that then you have to take care of it. But if for a profession, see, I'm gonna talk more professional reasons, right? I don't know your
yes.
personal reasons and I don't want to get into that. But for professional reasons, if it's much easier, in my opinion, to get admission and with a scholarship in US because there are so many universities.
Yes. True. Yes.
And the other thing is that no matter what your personal reasons are, if you are not going to get admission, that eventually you have to apply, right? So,
Yes.
one thing from a career point of view, I will give you an advice is, and I tell people this all the time in my videos also you have seen, I tell people what is your plan B. So, the currently where you are right now is because you didn't have any plan B. I wish you had a
Yes.
plan B.
Yes. That's true. I guess.
Yeah. And the problem now is because you didn't have a plan B, you could be in trouble. You may not go anywhere because of this coronavirus also now.
Yes. True.
So
Yes. Yes.
so always have plan A, B. That is always better. So I
Yes.
mean, right now Europe, I'm not sure if in Europe even if they say you can here is an admission letter, you really can't go in August. I don't see that happening.
Now condition is very
Yeah.
different.
Condition is, I mean, it's just escalating in other countries also. And
Yes. Yes. Yes.
then there will be a fear of anybody coming from outside.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
the thing, I don't think that things will become normal very easily now, even in US. Okay, so keep that in mind. But as I said, my advice to you is based on let's forget about coronavirus. What was the situation? So my advice to would have been is yeah, you should have prepared for plan B also. I don't know much about what's the difference between PhD from US and PhD from European universities. One thing I will definitely say, The biggest difference that any student feel when they come to US versus UK, Europe, not UK, Europe, or Japan or Korea, is the culture.
Okay.
US is very homogeneous culture. You'd never feel as an outsider here.
Okay.
I never felt that I am in some other country.
Mm-hmm.
Versus I have lived in Japan also. I have been in Korea. I have spent some time in Europe also. If you go there, it feels like you are in India or some other country because the culture is very is this is like a homogeneous culture, not a heterogeneous culture. So it's like it's the same. So you have to then worry about the language, you have to worry about the food, you have to worry about everything. US is very heterogeneous. Everybody here is from everywhere. People respect each other, and especially for people from India or people who come from China, I would say there are so many uh, help that you get because there are so many people here. Even the universities you go, you have a good. I think it's everywhere in the world, but the support system is pretty good.
Okay.
So it's when so the reason why I say these things is because when you do PhD, it's not just not like you are in the lab. You're gonna be attached to the other part of the world, right? You will be doing things. You will be going around park. You will be having fun. So all these things matter, and there is many things that to learn also. And I would say in relatively in US, interaction with the advisor is very casual also.
Okay.
Like as you said, nobody says sir. You take their name. It's very casual. It's they want you to work. Beside that, you can do mind your own business. I and again it depends on person to person also, but more or less it's a very casual culture. Even
Okay.
if you work
That's
under a Indian professor or any other professor, the idea will be that they want you to work, focus on the work rather than, and then whatever you can do, it's up to you. You don't have to worry, and the course system is also relatively good. You can take courses. There is a the PhD is very structured. I think in India
okay.
also is the same thing, but I would say one thing I would definitely say in US is the time of graduation literally depends on your advisor. That's one big difference. So like when I was doing my PhD, I graduated in around 4 years. I had
Mm-hmm.
I had another friend who it took him 7 years. So
Okay.
there is no constraint. It totally depends on you and your performance. It's not like in India where 3 years you're out. No, it doesn't work here like that. It depends on the advisor. So advisor can, if advisor thinks that you have not done enough work, he can ask you to work more. As at the same time, I would also say one thing that people have to understand here in US, the money that you're gonna get. If you are getting a teaching assistantship, it's get renewed every year. So let's say you get a teaching assistant 1 year, but next year you have to renew it. Usually it gets renewed. But if you are in research assistantship, which is given by the professor, then more or less you are in a mercy of professor. So if the professor wants, he can stop it anytime and he wants. But it never
Okay.
happens. It never happens. But what I'm saying, this is how it works. It's not like you will get money from some government or something, unless until there are some fellowships. But most of the time, the fellowships are for US citizens. Okay, so you have to understand all these factors also. Other than that, I would say, in my opinion, right now, you said I'm very much interested in theoretical physics, but recently I feel okay, okay, okay. So another thing I would say, I mean, there are some other questions that you have your qualities and all that. I think it's a good thing, but I would say one thing is right now you should be little bit worried
Okay. Okay.
about. I think worried about that. I'm pretty sure that I don't think that you are going anywhere in August. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And the reason is how the situation plays out with coronavirus, because Europe is gonna get is not in a good situation.